Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy The Treasure, written by You Sure I'm Not a Robot. The man lay broken on the ground, defensive wounds covering his arms, now cradled close to his battered body. A tuft of his graying hair lay scattered beneath him, and his eyes were swelling from his now broken nose. He raised a bitter grin and spat out blood, clogging his breath. "I told you, I don't have it. I gave it to my children, just as my father gave it to me." He ached, even saying the words, but it was true. He had shattered 3 of them. Seems like they had never heard of a Glasgow kiss. Well, they had now, feckers. Then the air turned grey, and he let his injuries carry him away for the last time. The Xeno reached down and pulled his knife from the human's back, and out of sheer frustration stabbed it back into the cooling body.
"What is wrong with these fecking creatures? How the feck do they hide something so important that we can't even find out the fecking name of it? We don't even know what the bloody thing is." He swung back to his crumpled accomplices. "And you lot were feck all use. I stabbed him before he knew what was happening, and he still made you look like a bunch of children. Morons and imbeciles, the lot of you. And remember that your health insurance doesn't cover terminally stupid. Get back to the ship and hope that you don't die. I'll leave your body where you fall if you do. Go!" He pulled the knife out and opened his armor, letting the sting of battle and the heat dissipate before it choked him. He stared at the creature on the ground. This human. He had been chosen because he was old. He pulled out his medkit and began trying to repair his scales. Old. That was a bad idea. Experienced would have been more accurate. Stabbed in an ambush, and he had damn near killed half the men before all that weird red blood had covered the ground. What kind of creature will use its own face as a weapon? Oh, the teeth. Those stupid herbivore teeth. It was going to take him months to grow his ear. Bastard thing. Typical fecking human, hiding meat cleavers in his mouth. And he still didn't have the answer that he'd been sent to get. He carefully searched the human's clothing, but other than his fake ID and loose cash cards, he held nothing. He took an executive decision that this was now officially someone else's problem. He was taking his crew and going to find a simpler job, like pushing a mountain uphill. These creatures were never going to talk. In a cloaked security and calmness ship, the small crew of specialists had watched the entire fight and enjoyed most of it. Nobody minded mercs getting their asses handed to them, and watching a human die always cheered them up. But then the mood sobered. The blessed leader waved a mandible and clicked for attention. "The entertainment is over. I want reports. This cost us a great deal of money, and 1 dead human is not going to be sufficient. What have you learned?"
The medical mind clicked nervously.
"The creature knew of the treasure. It even knew we were looking for it. It showed humor. It knew that we were too late, that it had already passed it on to its descendants. Also, we made an error in thinking that their elderly are as harmless as ours. The human was twice my age, and much more dangerous than any single warrior class. We have only learned things already known, that our battle with these creatures was won on surprise and technology alone. We are no closer to learning what they are hiding from us."
The blessed slammed his mandibles on the console and growled,
"So we have learned is nothing. We have thousands of these creatures slaving on our worlds, and all we hear is whispers of this weapon, this thing that will destroy us." He stood to his full 3-meter height. "Slaves! As if they ever did a damn thing that they were told. The dead one down there ripped his honorable master apart with a blasted spoon and stole his ship. If they have something, we need to know what it is." The Master of Swords clicked apologetically. "Blessed, we have made a mistake in not returning those we took in battle.
I was as shocked as we all were with the idea of swapping prisoners as if we wanted our disgraced warriors back. But I begin to see the point. We seem to have embraced a blade to our own throat in letting them into our worlds. I again ask for permission to kill them all."
The Blessed snapped loudly. "We can't. I no longer disagree, but we sold the damn things to pay for the war. We can't afford it." The mouthpiece rattled a little. "Those primitives did a lot more damage than we realized to the public, and we were still trying to repair most of it. Their owners would demand compensation, and no doubt humans would revolt if we tried. That is why we must find this treasure of theirs. Perhaps someone will be willing to pay for such a weapon before they use it on us." He looked around at his crew. "Well, does anyone have anything useful to offer? Or must I report that we spent our time and money on hunting down an old slave? A slave that no one would ever dare to own again." The Seeker of Stars chimed in. "Blessed, we may not simply find this one's descendants. They would hold this treasure. His last words told us so." The Blessed simply grunted and turned away, ignoring the question. The Medic of the Mind whispered to the confused navigator, "Silence. The slave has no family, save whatever we left on its homeworld, and they have no way of reaching our space, nor communicating with our slaves." It rattled its mandibles. "In any case, the treaty was a little less, putative than you may have been led to believe. We cannot return to their space without what the humans call an extinction war. They have sworn that the moment a ship from our space returns, they will seek out our destruction, even at the cost of every last remaining human life. The reason we are still holding these blasted human slaves is more as hostages than for any economic benefit." The Seeker of the Stars was startled and at a loss for a moment, but bravely carried on, determined to kill his career in a single conversation. "Medic, that is surely a bluff. What kind of creature would even imagine such a war? To what end? There cannot be victory in such a conflict." The Medic of Mind let out a low whistle. "Sad to lose such a young crewmate. Child, they have done this to themselves already. Before they'd even left their wretched homeworld, they had enough primitive fusion weapons pointed at themselves to evaporate the planet. They are mad, and we have fallen into their madness. Those that we took in war have taught us that much." 15 years earlier, Sun Tzu Murphy, interim commander of human military, all branches. The commander of the defense stood in front of a camera, deeply buried in a metal-lined cavern that appeared on no map. This was his final speech before the assembled remains of mankind's might threw everything left at the invaders. He took a deep breath and began. "Treasure this moment. Look around you and see what we have built under fire, under reign of hell itself. Look to your left and to your right, and remember that you stand with all men today. Treasure this moment, because many of us will not see tomorrow, and we will not be sorry. We will not mourn our life, but celebrate our defiance. We will bleed for our families. We will bleed for our future, and we will win. If they take you, if you fall, if you join our comrades in chains, then treasure this knowledge. We will not fail you. We will come for you. If we fall, our children will come for you. If they fall, our grandchildren will come for you. You will not be forgotten."
Treasure this promise, hold it tight as we go into battle, and make them pay for what they have done. Hold our vengeance like a precious thing it is, and pass it on to your children as their finest inheritance. His eyes seemed to pierce the lens as 15 million men gathered for a final effort, a last shot in a fading war. Some checked the timers on suicide nukes, others polished and loaded their grandfather's hunting rifles or burnished the long-forgotten bayonet. The commander smiled at the ragged army, waiting for the signal, and pressed the button that released the last of mankind's arsenal. To war! To victory! And to vengeance! Treasure this day, for it will not come again. End of story. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I just want to quickly thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Alithia, Barky, Beauty Cure, Meridian 117, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholz, Albard and Gusta, Savage Patch Papa,